A psalm and a hymn are both types of sacred songs that praise or worship God, but they have some differences. A psalm is a sacred song that is part of the Bible and inspired by God. A hymn is a song of praise or worship that is created by humans. Some hymns are based on the Psalms, but not all of them. Psalms and hymns can both be sung as forms of worship. A psalm is also a specific style of poetry that has a distinct meter, structure, and parallelism. A psalm usually has 2 to 4 words per line, with 3 accents per line being the most common meter. A psalm also uses different kinds of parallelism to express repeated, contrasted, or completed thoughts. A hymn does not have a fixed form or meter, but it usually expresses a reverent and devotional attitude toward God or His purposes in human life. A hymn may also teach a doctrine, encourage the body, or prompt others toward love and good works. The meaning of Selah in Psalms is not certain, but it is generally understood as a musical term that indicates a pause or a break in the singing or playing of the Psalms. Some scholars suggest that Selah may also have a meaning related to praising God, lifting up His name, or weighing His words in one's mind. Selah appears 71 times in Psalms and 3 times in Habakkuk, and it may have been a signal for the singers, musicians, or congregation to pause and reflect on the message of the psalm or the prayer. Some Bible translations leave Selah untranslated, while others add a phrase like pause and think or interlude to convey the idea of Selah. Selah is a word that invites us to pause and ponder the greatness and goodness of God. The context of Psalm 5 is not explicitly stated in the psalm itself, but some scholars suggest that it is related to David's conflict with his rebellious son Absalom. Absalom tried to overthrow his father and take the throne by winning the hearts of the people and spreading lies about David. David had to flee from Jerusalem and face many enemies who sided with Absalom. This may explain why David complains about the wickedness and deceitfulness of his enemies, and why he asks God to lead him in His righteousness and protect him from their schemes. However, this is not the only possible context for Psalm 5, as David faced many other situations where he was surrounded by evil people who used their words to harm him. The psalm may have been written for a general situation where the righteous suffer from the attacks of the wicked, and where they need to trust in God's justice and mercy. The psalm may have also been sung with flutes, as indicated by the title. Psalm 5 is a prayer of David that expresses his trust in God and his desire for God's justice against the wicked one. The psalm can be summarized as follows. David asks God to listen to his words and his cry for help, and to answer him in the morning. David affirms that God is not pleased with wickedness, and that the arrogant, the liars, the bloodthirsty and the deceitful cannot stand before Him. David declares that he can enter God's house by his great love, and that he worships God with reverence. David asks God to lead him in His righteousness and to make his way straight before Him, because his enemies are unfaithful, malicious and deceitful. David prays that God would declare the wicked guilty and banish them for their sins, because they have rebelled against Him. David rejoices that all who take refuge in God are glad and sing for joy, because God protects them and blesses them with His favor. A possible life lesson from Psalm 5 is that we should always seek God's presence and guidance in our lives, especially when we face troubles or enemies. We should also trust that God will hear our prayers and act on our behalf, according to His righteousness and justice. We should also praise God for His love and mercy, and for the joy and peace He gives to those who love Him.